So a few things you guys are going to have to remember is that when you're encountering some of these problems that I'm going to show a few clips today, okay, is that you have to look at the source of everything, right? I know we're all in a new age, and either you're like Christian or you're new age or whatever you believe, right? In the Christian faith, they believe you reap whatever you sow. And then in the new age, it's like a law of attraction type of thing. You draw things to you that are similar to you, right? Or they came from your source. What do I mean by your source? Okay. Your source is where you came from, right? And we all came from a mother and a father, right? So that's your family. That's your source. So in order to kind of think through a lot of these things, I know it's very hard to hear this, right? If you're being harassed or you're being bullied as an adult, or like cyberbullied, or you might have like a knitting page and people will just come on there. Those are ugly patterns. In order for us to kind of consider why is this happening, I know it's hard to explain, but kind of exclude the outward externalization of these people's behavior. Okay, I want to get no copyright. Hold on. We don't want that. We don't want that on there. Okay. Kind of exclude their thing. Kind of look on the inside of your family, of your source. Okay. You have to look at the dynamics there first. Okay. So if you have sadist in your family, and if you don't know what a sadist is, someone could be sadistic, right? Where they call them sadistic tendencies. There's different variations of it. And some people can have sadistic personality disorder, where their personality, their demeanor, how they choose to emote, how they choose to interact with others is disordered. That's why it's called a disorder, and it's a mental health disorder. Okay, maybe a chemical imbalance or maybe brain trauma. It could be they suffer previous abuse themselves and they absorb that abuse, and they actually identify who abused them and became that, right? Even though they'll tell you, I hate that, I don't like that. You can look at their actions and tell it's not the truth. So when you have sadists in your family, when you have narcissistic people, any cluster B personality disorders, when you have histrionics in your family, borderline in your family, or those with those type of tendencies, you could kind of look back at the source. Who is the head honcho type of aggressive or passive aggressive or insinuating, right? They call them covert or invert narcissist. Who was that in your family? It's not like I'm going to blame everything, but you have to look at that and what role that you play. And the roles can change, right? Because you can start out as the golden child, which I did, okay? When you give them a lot of attention and they feel like it's a positive association with you, they're receiving something from that. So myself, I did a lot of dance. I did ballet, jazz, tap, modern dance, African dance. I did gymnastics. I did cheerleading for years, even to college. I was a A and B student. I was a president of the National Honor Society. I started working at the bank when I was 16. I was driving myself. I was working since I was 14. So those type of things bring good impressions, and it shows a good image to people within your family unit. Remedial, what was it? Immediate and external, right? Where you don't have them, around you or whatever. So those type of things bring them a positive association. So therefore, you're kind of like a trophy or a commodity to them. And it's hard to hear that because you'd be thinking, well, all of those times they feel proud of you, but they feel proud that they're associated with you because the things that you're producing makes them look good by association. Okay, so remember, we're getting to the root of it, right? We don't want to look at the tree, and if we see the fruit, right, especially in society, because society is made up of families. These people came from families or a family unit or lack thereof through the system, through adult, through what is it called? Whether they was adopted or what have you or whatever, you know what I'm saying, during the foster care system, whether they was raised by a Meemaw, a grandma, a auntie, a uncle, a dad, or mom, you was raised by someone, right? Or it could have been all of those. Some of them could come from very good family, or on the surface, very good family units, right? But remember, those personality disorders come from somewhere. A lot of them are nature. They can get medicine and stuff from. A lot of them is nurtured, okay? And so our society nurtures and applauds personality disordered individuals, just what it is. So in order for you to kind of look at, well, why is this negative energy being drawn towards me? Because, in cyber stalking or cyberbullying, for that matter, we're talking about cyberbullying today, for Mental Health Month, even though I'm probably like early or whatever. Anyways, we'll kind of look at their negative comments, their insinuations, their weird posts that they make, their mockings, their arrested asides, their silent treatments, their passive aggressiveness, their no plausible deniability. I didn't do that. I wasn't meaning that towards you. We'll look at that and we'll internalize it. What's wrong with me? What did I do? You didn't do anything, right? So let's move those people out of the way because they want to have a role in your life to where their voice matters more than what your source does. What do I mean by that? Move them out of the way and let's look at your source, your family. It's very hard to do. It's called what they call shadow work and stuff like that. It's very hard to do. Why most people avoid it and they become trolls or bots or the cyberbullies, right? Okay, so cyberbullying, we already spoke about adult bullying or adult mean girls, right? Like in the workplace and the family, stuff like that. We're talking about cyber now. They get a little bit more brave on the cyber aspect. And remember, I told you when they hook up with other disordered people, they amplify each other's mental disorder, right? And so if you go look on, don't take my advice, go look on YouTube, look on whatever streaming service you like to watch, and you can see there's tons of people, educators, psychologists, psychiatrists that are doing TED Talks about the epidemic of adult bullying. Adults are becoming worse than the children. Adults, right? So when we come into this cyberbullying, this is giving people a false sense of security that they have because they're behind the screen here, right? Or they're behind a certain avatar. It might be an avatar of a snuffleupagus, and they be saying some of the nastiest things. So anyways, let's look back to the root of it, okay? Your role in the family can change. You can go from the golden child to what they consider the scapegoat, which is very strange and it's very hard on the individual, which I have went through that myself. Then you go from the golden child to the scapegoat if you start doing things or if you start believing things and evolving in ways that they don't agree with, whatever role they gave you. No, you're supposed to be the perfect one. What are you doing? Having fun at the club and you're 18 or 19, you're in college. What do you mean? So that type of thing, it could be something as small as that. Okay? That was linked to the head honchos, because family have several elders, obviously. The head honchos that was in your life. It could be a teacher, whatever your village was that raised you, or lack thereof, because you were still around adults and absorbing some of the things from them, right? In a good and a positive and negative way. Okay, so you got to uproot the negative, keep the positive, right? That's what it says. All things work together, because I'm happy that I have this wisdom, not because I went through it. So it's not something I read in a book, even though I do confirm it with book knowledge, okay? So when they begin to have this scapegoating thing, you can kind of look at the head honchos in your family, and that can be the head sadist, the one that was the most aggressive or passive aggressive, the one that made people feel like they had to, chase for their love and their acceptance, and that's not accepted. And then don't add religion into it, whatever it is. Now they got the religion slapped on top of it. What me ma say? You ain't supposed to do that. And it's in a shaming way. It's not in a teaching way. So when you begin to deal with those feelings of, oh, my head honchos, some of the head honchos in my family were sadistic. They enjoyed humiliating me or embarrassing me or mocking me or thinking they were picking other people over me to make me feel excluded. When you deal with those emotions, which are very hard to deal with, and if you need to get a psychiatrist and a psychologist or a therapist, there's nothing, no shame. I went through 15 years of therapy, okay? There's nothing. I still read books and stuff, and I'm open to it now, so it's nothing against that, okay? Because you need to be with a licensed professional that knows how to go through, help you iron out certain thought processes that were planted there. It's like seeds that was planted there, and you need somebody to weed them up out of there, right? Stuff that's growing in areas you don't need it to grow in. So they will inflict shame, embarrassment, exclusion, a hierarchy in a negative way into your family unit. So you begin to be used to that. So then when you come to this internet space, you're going to see people acting out what was in their family. You're either going to see people kind of on the passive end, like, hey, what's going on? Let me kind of move on over here. And you're going to see those on the aggressive end. Okay. Now, those on the aggressive end or passive aggressive, right? Those are the ones with, which I mean subliminal, which is like a cowardly way of letting you know something without letting you know. And if you were to say, well, why are you saying or why are you doing that? They have plausible deniability, everything about you. Then here comes the gaslighting. Because remember, they haven't done the work, and they refuse to. So they have years and years and years of learning how to shuck and jive out of telling the truth, even to themselves and to you. So you can, again, don't take it personal. It's hard not to, because we have a society where cyberbullying, they dox you. They want to find out where you work, what you do, the lack thereof. And then when they find that out, they like to use that to mock what you want in your life. They find that out from people around you who, remember, how can your family unit connect with complete strangers that don't know you? Because normally a family unit is meant to protect and support. Why would they connect, right? Because now we're broadening the spectrum. They will connect with others, right, to further this. It's because it started in your family, right? So when they find these things out from people around you or people who used to be around you, they would then feel like they have ammo on you. So now they weaponize your secrets. They'll exaggerate them. They'll add to them. Because remember, they don't like the truth. They like to pad lies. They pad them and pad them and pad them till it becomes like the blob. Anything it comes around, it swallows up, right? In a negative way, just all around, right? So this is their mentality. They turn into this groupthink type of thing. So you went from this golden child to this scapegoat. But then some of them may still like you a little bit. You still got little talents or something that they really like, or you might be really funny. And they'll enjoy those sides. And what they want to do is they feel you don't deserve to be used, so they'll pick those areas off of you and think they can place them on other people. And then they'll mock you with that. Right? So where did this all start? And how did this family, your family unit, it could be ex-friends, ex-family units, how did they connect with people that you don't know and people who mean you harm? What happened? Because they started identifying in their childhood, they identified with abusive people. It could be abusive grandpa, abusive dad, abusive mom, abusive teacher, abusive big brother, with the, remember the big brother type of thing. It could be anybody, the abusive coach that they identify with. They identify with the head honcho, the most sadistic, the most personality disordered. And if you're in the spiritual aspect, they got some spiritual stuff going on, which I'm going to speak about here. Some other things going on. That's what they identify with. And so that's where this cyberbullying comes from. It comes from a need of wanting to belong and feel like they are the golden child. And you look it up. That's not just a movie or something spiritual. I'm talking about psychologically. Look it up in the psychology terms, right? They want to be perceived in that way. And so this is where their sadism comes into play. And this is where the extreme competition comes into play. And the smear campaigns and the slandering and the sabotaging. And now you have a whole blob of people. It could be friends, family. It could be ex-co-workers, people that you used to go to your church or your mosque or your temple with, which is really weird because now we got a spiritual abuse aspect of it. All of them would team up with complete strangers because it's feeding something within them, their sadism. So if you trace it all the way back, trace that fruit, because it's called evil fruit. You trace that fruit all the way back and go down and look at them roots. And if I was to dig it up, you'll see within those roots, there was a lot of sadism. Sadism. Why do you keep saying that word? Because I'm going to keep saying it. Sadism is when people enjoy hurting other people. So if they weaponize your needs and wants as a mother, right? You want to be around your children, you love them, they'll attack your motherhood. If they weaponize you, a woman or a man, and you want companionship, they're going to weaponize their companionship towards you, like, see? Because they want you to envy them because they envy you. This is what they learned from those abusive people. When they were abused, that was someone that couldn't handle their emotion. They couldn't handle their anger. They couldn't talk correctly. They didn't care enough to understand the child. They just lashed out on them. Or if it was in a perverted sexual way, they didn't ask them. They didn't get their consent, or they tricked them and manipulated instant giving consent. We're going to play a little game. And then they doing a little stuff. And you understand? So all they know is manipulation and trickery and lies. That's all they know. So when you begin to see these people link up in this type of blob mentality, familial, friendship, platonic, romantic, spiritual community, or lack thereof, Christianity, spiritual, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, when you begin to see these things kind of congeal together like the blob, those are people that have never, and some of them will never deal with those aspects of what actually happened to them. Am I giving them an excuse? No. But the problem with sadists is that they want you to be a masochist, a sadomasochist. They want you to be a masochist. They want you to they think that you should be grateful that they're going out of their way to waste their own time instead of dealing with things in their own life and their own issues. They want you to feel grateful that they're giving you this negative attention that you didn't consent to, that you don't want, opinions that you didn't ask for. They forgot all of their manners when they were young. Hey, you know what? If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. Keep it moving. They feel like they have to say everything. They don't become vaults. They become anything, anything is out in the open, all of your stuff, and their stuff is hitting under manipulation and trickery. And you'll begin to see people that used to be around you, friendship and family-wise, will begin to, their loyalty switch. Okay? Their loyalties switch over to the person or the people that are the most sadistic because that feeds something within them. They figure as long as they're hurting or harming or weaponizing their lifestyles and their agendas against someone as a scapegoat, that means that they're the golden child and they are favored. It's a mockery and it's an inversion of God's favor. Which everybody can have it, but they choose not to, again, do the work. You have to humble yourself before God and ask him to work on you, and nobody's perfect, right? I'm dang on sure not perfect. So this is kind of where it comes from. It comes from your family unit. It's a deep wound that you're going to have to dig out and deal with. But that's where it comes from. Your family weaponizes things. They weaponize your inclusion. They weaponize them showing pride in you. They weaponize them assuring you and confirming you. They weaponize that. So then they'll do what the opposite end, which is they will not confirm you. They will not celebrate you. They won't support you. They won't help you. They will hurt and harm you. See? So it started in your family unit. That's where it all started. Right? The rivalry. They call it sibling rivalry. Because sibling is somebody you what? Related to. Relationship. This is what your relationships was around you. So as you get older, those are the type of people that you relate to. Either you relate to them or you were really, really repulsed by them, which I am. Think it's ridiculous. I've always thought it was ridiculous. But as someone who has went through this, and I go through it, here and there, right? I block a lot of the people, but when we're dealing with, now we're in the cyber aspect of this bullying mentality. When you look at it in that way, it's not that you're giving them an excuse, but you can see the root of it. And so you just block them and move on, So hopefully these videos will help someone. If you are being bullied, reach out to a therapist, or if it's getting to the point where, it might be dangerous. You know what I mean? You might have to get a personal protection order because, again, they egg each other on to the point where they disrespect your boundaries and your consent. If they're doing that, you have to, protect yourself, Go to a shooting range and make sure, you have a security system if it gets to that level. So, but if it's on the end of where there's just irritation, that's all you got to do is block and delete. That's all you got to do. You have to deny them access. Now, some of them are crazy and they're going to want access to you anyway. They'll make fake pages, and I've had them do that too. I have over 250 people blocked. Why do you say that? Some of the stuff I just don't want to see, but I know a lot of them were by association. So if I see something I don't like, I'm blocking it. Even if it's a page, nope, I don't want to see it. It's not worth anything. Oh my God, I got toothpaste down there. Well, at least I brush my teeth. So I need to get my water. So I'm going to have to go here in a minute, guys. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully these clips will help you. And we're going to keep having these little talks. Okay, I know this is my little garden channel. And I like to tell little jokes and my little food and stuff. But I think it's important. I'm bringing some of my content that normally will be on my podcast over here. Okay, and then I'll be doing a full series on my podcast, Humble Dame. Humble Dame, that's HUMBLEDAME. Okay, because it's important for you to understand these dynamics because, again, their sadism, some of them knows no boundaries and knows no bounds. So they'll go from aggressive to passive aggressively, doing things subliminally, doing things to harass you, pushing your boundaries, not respecting your boundaries, to where then they'll gaslight you and act like I did not do. You understand? So these people want to basically kind of control your reality. They want to control your narrative. And if they're not a part of your life, that you didn't choose to be a part of your life, and they have no role in your life, or if they do and you don't consider them in that way any longer, then you basically need to just delete any type of contact with them, any type of bound, anywhere they can see you, you need to delete them. That's what you need to do. Okay. And sometimes it can be hard because it can be family. You have to restrict it. If it's an elder or if it's someone you talk to them every now and then, or hey, how you doing? Just to be cordial. If it's family reunion, okay, hey, and you kind of keep it moving. Or if it's someone that you have to see in common, it could be even your kid's father. As long as they're not dangerous for the kids, but they act weird towards you. Hey, how you doing? Okay, bye. Keep your conversations brief with them. And I dare I tell you, don't even tell them the truth. Because what I found out, what I have to do with my family is, I've been doing it for a long time. I tell them different versions of the stories and I add stuff to it. A lot of you said, but that's lying, that's wrong. I don't owe no one that I know that's sadistic to my truth at all. So whatever you're gossiping and saying stuff about, 4 or 5 of them got different stories. And if you get back to me, I know which ones. You understand? I've had to learn how to do that. Okay, in some communities they call it being an empath, or or you be a dark empath, right? Which I've had to turn, because you kind of learn the techniques of abusers. I don't believe in doing that, but I think abusers deserve to be abused because they don't learn through kindness. You're being kind and say, leave me alone. Okay, well, that's your opinion. That's none of your business. Are they respecting that? No, so they deserve to be abused. If they're lying to you, you lie to them. If they're being sadistic to you, you don't receive their sadism. They don't deserve your emotions. It's none of their business. If they're seeking out to harm or hurt or disrespect or humiliate or embarrass you, they don't deserve to see your true emotions about that. It's none of their business because it never was in the first place. They don't deserve your support. Right? So this even make you, now you then went from the golden child to the scapegoat. Now you're the black sheep of the family. And then you begin to embrace that role. Because why would I want to be a part of a blob that's sadistic, that enjoys that, instead of being productive in your own lives? Or being productive together in a good way? Why y'all can't come together and come up with a nice business plan or raise, college funds for the kids in the family? Why do you have to come together to talk about one individual that you say you don't fool with, but you fool with because you watch everything they're doing and you bullying them online? Right? Or the ones that sit back and won't say anything, but they enjoying the show. Right? So these are things that you're going to have to trace back. Remove the strangers that you don't know. Trace back all the way back to your family. And you'll begin to see, oh, these were the same dynamics there. Then you got to take accountability for your behavior too. That's hard to do too. I know. What did you allow and what did you not say? Hey, I don't like you talking to me like that. Because you was trained not to say anything. You was trained to vie for their affection, because remember, they weaponized it. Because in a functional family, they freely give their affection. It's not that they approve of everything you do, because you have to be disciplined, but they wow, good job, okay, oh, I love you. But in a toxic family, they weaponize things. So you was trained to, do you love me? Are you proud of me? You was trained to perform. You was trained to be that dancer or that cheerleader or that straight A student or that national society. You was trained to do that. So you begin to think that, oh, I'm only accepted by what I do and how I perform, not for who I am. So now you have to go to the Creator and ask, who am I really? So now, see what I mean? I'm turning it from them and putting the emphasis back on you. You deserve to heal that wound within you. God wants to heal that wound within you. It doesn't happen overnight, because we have triggers and stuff happening, right? And that's what the journey of life is about. Right? So they meant it for evil, but it's actually really good, because now you can really relate to a lot more people. It's just not the people that you was related to. Okay? So I hope they help you, but you deserve, I hope there's somebody hear that today. You deserve to heal that wound. You don't have to audition for people's acceptance and love. That's crazy. Now it's the time and the place for business-wise, obviously. That's why you have a resume. They want to see what you can do, what you can offer, what you bring it to the table, and you get I understand in that aspect. Even in relationships, I get that too. When you want to dating, you want to see what's best for you. I'm not talking about it that aspect. I'm talking about it when it comes to a support system that's around you. You should not have to audition and tap dance and have people and vibe. Did you like what I do? You shouldn't have to do that. They should accept you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm talking about the real niggas. I'm talking about the real nigga channel, the real ones, right? You don't have to do that for them. They can see you at your worst days and still love you. They don't see you at your worst days and go gossip about you because they're sadistic and lonely and jealous and envious of you. People will see you at your worst day to still be envious. And I'm talking about a family, sis. I'm not talking about nobody out in society. I don't know them. And then you begin to attract people that remind you of your family. So you may get into relationships like I did with men. Their emotional blueprint was like that of my family. I said, I'm the only perfect one in my family. I ain't got no problems. No, I have a lot of issues. You can start growing up with codependency. You can start becoming a perfectionist. You can start performing because you can become a masochist. Where you start, because it was training you to think, well, I'm chastising you because I love you. And it's like, no, you're actually bullying me. You're mocking. You're in my business and I didn't invite you into my business. I didn't give you consent for that. That was actually a secret. I didn't tell you to tell anybody that. And so then they'll gaslight by acting like you have to teach them how to. No, you know how to behave towards people because you behave towards people that you can gain something from very well. You show a lot of manners. Or if you want them to see you in a kind way, you know how to act kind. So that's not the truth, right? Right? So you have to look at your role in it. Okay, now we're peeling back the. Remember, we're making this about you, and now you're getting between you and God. God, what was my role in this? Right? You know, you ever heard you give somebody an inch, they take a mile? What inches did I give these people? Where did I? Right? Now, when it comes to strangers and stuff like that, harassment, you can't do nothing about that. Those are just trolls. But you have to leak it back and link it. Link it back to your source. Right? And then once you say, oh, this is the source of that pain, then you go to the source, the ultimate, sovereign, superior of superiors, source, and say, can you heal me in this area? And I want to have people around me, and you begin to give supplication to say, I want you to supply me with decent people, with loyal people, with loving people, and help me to be that to them. I don't want to take my brokenness from this sadistic people and these abusive, weird, cyberbully, family, job, whatever people. I don't want to take that and then spew that onto somebody else. I want to have fulfilling relationships. I want to be loved. I want to have a nice partner that doesn't sleep with everybody, that doesn't sleep with family and friends, that doesn't talk about you, that doesn't, show you little videos that you made with your baby daddy back in the day to people, doesn't show pictures of you, that doesn't exploit me for a laugh, for cheap thrills, for money, for bribery, right? Because some of them get bribed too, and they take the bribe happily. And that means they sold you out. They sell you out for $11,000. They sell you out for $30,000. They sell you out. So I don't want those type of people around me. And I take responsibility that I played a role in that and allowing these people thinking that was okay because I was raised that way. I had nothing to do with that, right? So that's where you need to heal in that. So now that you know you was raised like that, and it wasn't all bad, but you have to be truthful about your family unit you came from. You can love them too. I love some toxic people. I stay away from them though. They choose not to work on it or even take accountability. You can't be around people like that. So you begin to take accountability, and then you begin to ask God to show me where I need to build up these boundaries. It's not walls. It's going to be walls to toxic people, but it's boundaries. You can't just walk up in anybody's house. You got to knock and allow to be let in, right? Because if not, it's breaking and entering, right? So it means or it's trespassing. You have to get my permission. So then now you know that now we're building your confidence, your God confidence. Now you know you're the apple of God's eye. When your mother and your father forsake you, I was always there. When they broke your heart, I am closer to you. He says he's close to the brokenhearted. And when they was mean to you and drew you away with loving kindness, I drew you right on up over here. So now you begin to get that. Now you have a need. It's a standard that God put in you, not for perfection, but now you want that within people, these vessels around you. Not vessels of dishonor that bring shame, guilt, mockery, slander, smear campaign, bribery, selling out, exploiting. We don't want that. That's dishonorable people. God bless you. We want honorable people around us. And then you have to ask God for patience to wait on that and create that within me. So now we're taking accountability for ourselves. We asking the Lord to help our triggers to be teachers. Because people that are trolls, that's all they do is trigger. They try to trigger you. They have nothing else, so they're not teachable. Because if they were, they would want to learn why they're acting like that. Okay? So you guys have a wonderful day. We're going to keep talking about this because I'm trying to entice y'all. I want y'all to come over there to my podcast. Okay, but I'm going to split these little videos up in here spontaneously here and there in between my garden content. And you guys have a wonderful day and happy Tuesday and Memorial's Day. Belated Memorial's Day to you guys. Peace.
Harassment, also known as cyberbullying, is alive and well in social media and is directly affecting adults. Did you know that over 25% of adult Americans have reported being a victim of online bullying of places online? This can include rude messages, digitally altered images, hacking a victim's account, publicly sharing secrets, and cyberstalking. All of the above are considered psychological abuse. Cyberbullying can potentially be more harmful because it's not easy to escape from it. The best response is not to bite the bait that someone is trolling with. A troll is someone who is purposefully disrupting online communities. If they receive no reaction from the attack, then they will have to move on. Here's what you can do. Keep track of all harassing incidents and document everything. Block the harasser on social media sites and report the incident to your internet service provider. And finally, when in doubt, always contact law enforcement with your questions. One of the reasons I like to bring up adult cyberbullying is because it can happen to anyone at any time. Victims often have low self-esteem, increased suicidal ideation, and emotions ranging from fear to embarrassment, or even depression. Being informed and knowing your rights is one of the best lines.
To donate to a good cause. Online activism like what I do is very special. We need this type of online activism. I'm using my great, amazing gifts for the greatest good of humanity. And in this video, I want to really address and highlight that flying monkeys are just as personality disordered as the head honcho narcissist or the head honcho psychopath. And I want everybody to know that sycophants and the followers and the enablers of the biggest, meanest, fattest, filthiest narcissist is still a narcissist. So if you're an enabler, a sycophant, a flying monkey, then you're a narcissist. So a lot of people, they get confused and they think, well, the flying monkeys are just misled. They're just confused, or they are, being gaslighted as well, or brainwashed. So I wanted to emphasize that if anybody is coming after you to harass you, mock you, ridicule you repetitively, and, sabotage you, undermine your self-esteem, then, they go around defaming you and, demonizing you, trying to get you fired from a job, or trying to get you ousted out of the family, whatever the hell it may be. Flying monkeys also do mobbings. They get together and facilitate or perpetuate groupthink, and remedial second graders are, they're the ones that perpetuate groupthink, and that's exactly what narcissists are all about. They are conspiratorial. They're all about groupthink. They have no individuality. They have no capacity to think on their own. They all think on the same psycho-narcissistic wavelength, and they look up to the most authoritarian, controlling, meanest, bitchiest narcissist, the biggest, meanest, most controlling psychopath. Those are the types of people that flying monkey sycophants look up to. They admire and adulate such filthy, control freak narcopaths. And so we, as good people, tend to give flying monkeys the benefit of the doubt. We want to assume that everybody in our community and in our life is kind and loving and trustworthy. And we want to give them the benefit of the doubt that, well, anybody could make a mistake. Well, anybody get gaslighted or brainwashed. And we want to give flying monkey enablers the benefit of the doubt. But I want to say probably 9 times out of 10, they're just as bad. They're just as bad. They see you in a vulnerable state. They see or notice or observe that you are without friends, without support, that there's a lot of smear campaigns or malicious gossip going around about you, and they see that as a great opportunity to kick you while you're down, to just to piss all over your constitutional rights, to wipe their ass all over your face. They just see that as a great opportunity to exploit in the most savage and sly, surreptitious, sneaky way possible. So that's what flying monkeys and, the sycophants, enablers, all of that is, all that terminology, all those terms are synonyms: flying monkey, sycophant, enabler. They're all the same. They're all the same. And I wanted to say 9 times out of 10, I really believe that the sycophant flying monkey is just this personality disordered as the head honcho psychopath. So you've got to really break out of denial, break out of all the cliches, break out of all the propaganda, break out of all the break out of all of that, all the stereotypes, all mainly disinformation and propaganda that has been shoved in your face dozens of times, and it's just red herrings, dozens of red herrings, one after the next, designed to make you go on wild goose chases.
If you'll recall, for a while now on this channel, I have been saying that this country is suffering from a severe mental health crisis, and that crisis is getting worse. I think back to when I was a kid, and I think back to places like this, the playground. And when I was a kid, there were bullies, and those bullies would pick on me by calling me names and also occasionally beating me up. Yeah, this is where I found my bullies, and you may have found a few there as well. But as time moved on, I figured bullies would move on too. Well, today, bullies are not just found here. We find bullies in many other aspects of our lives, and specifically as we've grown up, the bullies actually in some cases didn't grow up. In fact, some of us, as we grew up, turned into bullies. So curious, where are the bullies being found now if they're not here? They're found here, and they're called cyberbullies. And they'll use social media and texting to bully other people. Our teenagers experience this far too often. In fact, a study in 2018 found that teenagers who experience cyberbullying are 2.5 times more likely to cause self-harm. This is terrible. And a lot of the reason why this happens is because the bully feels like nobody can do anything to them. They can go out there and they can say whatever they want, and they will have no accountability for their thoughts, their words, their actions that they take on these platforms. It's sad. Our teenagers deserve better than this. Where do we start to solve this problem? I've done some thinking on this. And to be honest with you, it starts with us. It starts with the adults. I've been paying pretty close attention to what's happening on social media recently, especially because it's political season. And it disturbs me. The cyberbully isn't just a teenager, folks. The cyberbully is adults. There are adults who will bully one another out on social media. They have nothing better to do sometimes than to go out there and attack people for their thoughts, their views, and what they post. They're easily offended, and they use that as a launching point to name call and to attack someone for what they believe. Recently, I took part in a Facebook conversation